Tonight on KGW News, training immigrants and their supporters on how to deal with ICE.
But having the courage and knowing how to exercise those rights is key.
And as another round of heavy rain bears down on us, see why the Mount St. Helens eruption decades ago is making flooding worse. Plus,
to take from people that are already struggling, it's a certain kind of evil.
crooks draining SNAP benefits and spending the money across the country. The simple fix Oregon has yet to put in place. Then later, the update you might actually like on tax hikes for Oregon drivers. Our top story here at 11, storms rolling into the area with the potential for strong wind and more rain as some still deal with the flooding from last week's atmospheric river. Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich alongside Celine Stevens here to give us a look at what to expect. Celine, I know you've been tracking all this weather.
Christine, yeah, we're already seeing that rainfall now in our area, and that's going to continue through early tomorrow morning as well as the winds. But right now, taking a look at our Wells Fargo Tower sky camera, we're sitting at 58 degrees. And like I said, that rain is starting to come down. And look at how winds have picked up. We're at 15-mile-per-hour wind speeds right now as well. And so look at our watches and warnings. We actually had that wind advisory expanded to include the Portland and Vancouver area. That started at 10 p.m. and that'll continue until 4 a.m. tomorrow. So that's just because of the kind of winds we're going to be seeing here. We're also seeing that flood watch that will go into effect for the Portland area early Thursday morning and last through Friday because of all that rain we're going to be seeing. We're looking at an atmospheric river moving in come Thursday. But right now we have the high wind warning along the coast. We also have a wind advisory that's affecting the Coast Range and the Cascade foothills. So we have a lot going on this evening into tomorrow. And then of course Thursday, Friday is really going to be the main event. And so looking at our radar right now, you'll see that rain has pushed into our area. That started around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And now we're just going to continue to see that rain over the next couple of hours. Pretty moderate rainfall at that. The good news is it's short-lived. So we're looking again right now 11 p.m. By the time we get to around 3 a.m., it's pretty much going to be done. Tomorrow we're looking at showers. It's the day after that the heavy rain comes. We'll talk more about that in a bit.
Okay, thank you, Celine. Northwest Washington is still dealing with the aftermath of heavy rain. Tonight, a new landslide in Skagit County has triggered evacuations. This is happening near the small town of Concrete, northeast of Seattle. This video shows a smaller landslide blocking the dirt road and preventing camera crews from reaching the main slide. Emergency responders in Pierce County are now headed north to help. Flooding in the area turned deadly earlier today when a driver tried to go through a closed road and ended up submerged in a ditch about 6 feet deep.
It's really terrible to see what a natural disaster can do to people and large numbers of people. So it's really heartbreaking, but we always come at it with an attitude that we're going to come in and do the best we can to help.
And another issue tonight as a rare blizzard warning is set to take effect in less than 4 hours in the western Washington Cascades. It's only the 6th blizzard warning in western Washington's history. Officials are encouraging anyone who doesn't live in the area to avoid traveling there and stay below 2,000 feet. And in part of southwest Washington, the flood risk is worsening because of sediment from the Mount St. Helens eruption. It's washing into the Cowlitz River, creating less space for water from the heavy rain. The Army Corps of Engineers built a structure to trap sediment back in the 80s, but Castle Rock's Public Works Director says it's barely working anymore. City and county leaders want the Corps to dredge the river, fix the banks, and raise the sediment structure.
Talking about human life and properties, public health and safety downstream. And we're at that point where we need to do some dredging, or we're going to find ourselves with flooding issues and issues where people are going to either have to have flood insurance or are going to be impacted by a flood.
The Army Corps of Engineers has said it will raise the spillway to catch more sediment, but has not committed to dredging the river. And we have activated our Northwest Response fundraiser to help people impacted by the flooding. Donate by scanning the QR code there on your screen. The money goes directly to the American Red Cross. You can also visit U.S. bank branches in Washington and Oregon to make a donation in person. We also have a link to donate at kgw.com. Tonight, people in Gresham attended a Know Your Rights training. It is one of several hosted over the last few months as immigration and customs enforcement activities have been on the rise. Alma McCarty has a look at what they learned.
Here in Rockwood, the city of Gresham partnered with Latino Network to hold this training, though many, the vast majority even, attended virtually. This wasn't a surprise to organizers who said there's a lot of apprehension in the community surrounding ICE.
Hey, remember your rights. Don't answer anything. Don't sign anything.
What to say or what to do might not come easily in a high-stress, high-emotion situation, especially one involving federal agents.
The adrenaline runs down my body every time I go out into the streets to verify ICE activity, and you can't help it.
It's why Ana Munoz with Latino Network says these trainings are so important.
Knowing our rights is about making sure that we are asserting our constitutional rights in ways that are going to protect us.
It's been really hard with friends and neighbors, they're afraid to leave their homes. They contact me, hey, can you go outside? Can you go search, make sure that the area is safe?
Elisa, one of those attending, explains that's the reality on the ground. The fear keeping people from leaving their homes, avoiding appointments, trips to the grocery store, even in-person events like this one.
I came here because I wanted to learn more and know what I could do to help. And also know my rights being Hispanic, because now they can racial profile. How do I know they're not going to come after me? They're not going to go after my kids.
Knowing our constitutional rights is one thing, but having the courage and knowing how to exercise those rights is is key.
For someone being detained, it's speaking up, saying out loud, I have the right to remain silent and I don't consent to this search. For bystanders, it's recording safely at a distance and saying again out loud that you have a right to do so. Then sending videos or information off to community groups that can step in and help the person in ICE detention.
We shouldn't be afraid of our government. We should be able to face and defend our rights, even if it's federal agents or even the National Guard.
Stay calm, be respectful, do not argue, do not resist.
KGW reached out to ICE and DHS for comments, but we did not hear back. In Gresham, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Meantime, city leaders are calling for ICE to stop using chemical munitions on Portland streets. This follows an immigration-related arrest when witnesses say agents shot pepper balls near protesting neighbors. This is video from last Thursday, shortly after agents pulled over and arrested Eric Tellez as he drove two of his children to school. You can also see some white remnants from the munitions that witnesses say ICE officers fired.
Driver and the passenger stick their freaking pepper balls out their windows and shoot like bam, 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 just freaking lit up the neighborhood with pepper balls. As they're driving off, they're all safe in the car, and so then downwind, the whole street's just coughing.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson and 3 city council members condemned the action today, saying it was unjustified and escalatory, and federal agents should immediately stop using chemical munitions in Portland neighborhoods. We have reached out to ICE for comment and are waiting to hear back. Today, a delegation of Oregon lawmakers asked Homeland Security to reveal any plans for a new ICE facility in the state. In a letter to Secretary Kristi Noem and Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, lawmakers point to recent job postings that suggest plans for new or expanded detention facilities in Portland and Newport are already underway. They say they were not notified and are demanding transparency before any contracts are signed. Those jobs have since been removed from both Indeed and Acuity International. Lawmakers have asked Homeland Security to provide a detailed response by December 19th. Developing tonight, police in Sherwood are warning residents to be on the lookout. They suspect a burglary may be targeting homes in the city. Catherine Cook is here now with the group's MO. Catherine, what have you found out?
Well, Christine, police are reporting at least one break-in. They wouldn't say exactly where it happened, but noted it could happen again in any part of town. They want people to be very aware of what's going on. As a brightly lit downtown Sherwood sparkles, police are warning people in town of something dark. Officers say recently they responded to a home burglary, which investigators believe could be tied to an organized burglary group. They say it appears the crooks conduct surveillance in neighborhoods before committing crimes. Past cases place them in newer, sometimes flashy vehicles, often with out-of-state plates.
I'll keep an eye out, that's for sure.
Robert Grebb lives in Sherwood and appreciates the heads up from police, though it did surprise him.
I haven't really seen much of that activity going on, and there's an awful lot of families, a lot of good people here in Sherwood. Yeah, more information is better than no information.
Police are asking people to watch out for vehicles they don't recognize driving through their neighborhoods, either repeatedly or during odd or sporadic hours, day or night. Also, they say suspect vehicles might park in neighborhoods for extended periods of time, with those inside rarely getting out. If you notice that kind of behavior, police are asking that you report it to Sherwood's non-emergency dispatch line. They're also encouraging people to trust their instincts, saying if something feels off, it's probably worth reporting. Christine.
Yeah, that is often the case, right? Trust your gut. Thank you, Catherine. Let's get you caught up now on tonight's other headlines. A Portland man accused of stalking a parent whose child was killed in the Sandy Hook school shooting has been sent to the Oregon State Hospital. Kevin Perfield is facing stalking charges for harassing an OHSU employee whose daughter was killed in that shooting. Prosecutors say Perfield messaged and called the man, claiming his daughter was never killed. In a court hearing today, a mental health professional said Perfield suffers from delusions and has refused medication. Portland School Board tonight discussed how to boost enrollment at Jefferson High School. Right now, fewer than 400 kids attend Jefferson. The city's other high schools have at least 1,000 more students. The superintendent is proposing changes to school feeder programs to funnel more students to Jefferson. Presenters tonight emphasized Jefferson is not falling behind academically.
Last year, 85% of Jefferson's graduates earned 3 or more advanced credits, well above the district average, and the school's graduation rate exceeds both the district and the state.
They also discussed plans to add new college prep courses at Jefferson and pathways to careers in technical education. A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration's efforts to punish states with fines related to food assistance programs. This has to do with efforts to cut off benefits for refugees and asylum seekers who've become permanent residents. Oregon's Attorney General says despite reversing its own guidance, the administration continued to threaten to fine states who didn't comply or implement the changes.